encapsulate this real, land this idea in this channel real quick because the live cut out. But I was just saying that I watched a video by the Wayfinder that said that you can't be entirely certain that other people exist, just because some of the ambivalence of what you know and don't know of people, even your very partners, friends, associates, and family. But such also you yourself, you can't be entirely sure that you exist or exist the way you think you do, especially to others, because you can't have you don't know what your voice, you cannot actually ascertain what your voice sounds like while rendering your voice from the vantage point of existing as you. And the closest you can get is a combination of a little bit of echo and feedback and ricochet of the sounds you make, and then also the perception of what it feels like to be you as you would make sounds. That's the closest you can get. And the only thing you can get beyond that is just the engagement and reaction and traction of others. Is that you feel like you're raising your voice, other people respond to you like you would be raising your voice, or like you would think you're raising your voice, and now you can appreciate that you're raising your voice, but you don't know how your voice actually sound or was. But then if you also take in the fact that time is relative, things happen so quick. Like, so how long, so you make a sound, right? Like, I'm in a room like this. If I make a sound, how long does that sound actually exist? Because no sooner can I stop uttering it than it ceases to exist. But it's like it doesn't take long to say something. It doesn't take long, but it's also gone that fast. That's actually like I talked about, like that person that in the other video that lost their life in a kickboxing match in 2021. No sooner do I stop talking, and rapidly there's nothing that you can really appreciate of sound. But no sooner would someone, heaven forbid, be kicked upside the head the wrong way and like that. But one day maybe our life will be like that too. Is that no sooner did that not happen or not happen, then but if you do pass away, and it's appreciated that to be here, there would actually almost have to be, you could say that there would have to be an afterlife, right? Think about this, right? I would almost reason that there has to be an afterlife, right? Because if when you're gone, right, you're a goner, you pass away, right? You don't know anything, right? You don't know anything because you're not having an experience. You're not experiencing anything ostensibly. If there will ever one day be a point where you did not know you had been born, how can you at any point have any sensation of, because you don't remember being born. If you think about that, you don't remember being born likely, unless a rare individual would remember being born. You don't remember being born, but you're told you were born. You're existing now. You can remember parts of your life. You're fairly certain about parts of your life. The experience was real, but the memory's not entirely there. You can't remember a lot of stuff, right? What was you remember college, right? What was your first day of college like? What actual day was that? What day of the year was that? You probably can't remember what day of the year that was. Maybe you can't remember what day of the year. What day of the week was that? What was the weather like that day at 11:30 in the day? What did you have for lunch that day? Who did you meet? Who all did you meet? Who can you remember who you met? What did you say to who you remember of what you met? But what words did you say? What words did they say? You just remember, it's almost more very little different than a dream. You had a dream last night. You can't remember very much of that dream that you had last night, if at all. But you can remember that you had a dream sometimes. The dream was real enough, beyond real. According to Arthur Avalon, some things are actually more than real. Some modes of experience are more than real while they last. But as they cease to last, and they will cease to last, and time is relative to position, um, and from that standpoint, arbitrary. You can remember about as much as your life in the past as as you can as like a dream, other than things that you've trained. Like whatever you trained, you can probably remember that better because that's now your body remembering it, and your body remembers better, way better than your mind. Your body could actually remember, like as much as you, whatever you can or can't remember of what you said to someone or not, or what was said to you or not. Your body can remember the energy of that verbatim. Your body can. So and I wanted to talk a little bit about that too. Is that I think that part of the sensation, the reason that people are much about, the reason that people fancy love making, right? the reason that people love nothing better than or would like to enjoy nothing more than making love, um, is because making love is an experience, an enjoyment of your organs. Like you didn't think about that. Is that when you're making love, right? They kind of they brush it off like that. They say that the reproduction organs, but they actually are your organs, and you're getting to enjoy your organs when you're making love. I think that sometimes our organs they can perceive more than we normally is our organs perceive more than we appreciate, and also they exist as more than what we appreciate or what we appreciate differently. So when you have an organ, right, like you have your lungs as they're functioning. Your lungs aren't just this thing that sit in your chest and take in air and give it back. And this very that's materialistic to think that your organs are what they appear as, or that's all what they are. Your organs are all of your experience, right? So you fell in love one time, right? Did you remember falling in love? That would have to be. I hope that would be beautiful if you fell in love. I stand down if you fell in love because I may not know what that's like or may know anything similar to what you experienced when you fell in love. I'll be honest to say that. But when you did fall in love, that wasn't actually your brain that fell in love itself. Yeah, that was your organs that also fell in love, because anything that you got to exist and feel and sense of that person, of yourself, of that environment, of that moment, that would make you cognizant of, but also reminiscent of and enjoy that moment. Your entire organs were facilitating that, and they were different ranges of that, because you are what you perceive, but you're also what is allowing you to perceive. And what is allowing you to perceive is also what you are perceiving, and what is allowing you to perceive it, and that's your organs. So you can say that all of your life, your experience of life, is actually your organs. And they you normally not you're not you can't perceive your visceral experience of yourself, but I think that your organs can perceive things. They can fear, they can enjoy, they can love, they may not like also, heaven forbid. And so you're I'm just saying that one of the reasons that people enjoy love making and sexual activity is because that's one things that's engendered for, and is no more sophisticated for, or goes not much beyond in the actual moment than the organs enjoying themselves and being getting to play. Because normally you don't get to play with your organs like that. That would sound weird, like, hey, I just want to play with your organs. That would actually like hey, this person's calling. Oh, that's such and such in my phone. They just wanna play with my organs, or like that. I don't mean to be egregious like that or get the wrong kind of attention with that, but like if you actually are, like, a lot of people, they don't care about people, right? Like, so you're on a dating app, right? You're not on a dating app because you want to know where someone what someone thinks about theology necessarily, or like what their politics are, what necessarily, or even what makes them laugh or smile necessarily. You're interested in what makes them laugh or smile around you, so you can get closer and sooner have an experience of like sharing contact or meaningful communication that's more so along the lines of intimacy, but it also is with the precursor, or the sensation, or the potential possibility of contacting one another's organs. So you're actually interested in sharing the experience of one another's organs. It's enjoyable to be enjoyed and also to enjoy. So when people are contracting or interested in looking at, or procuring, or um, enticed by or is seeking partners, which is a lot of life is about partners, or impressing people for the sake of partners. It's to both enjoy other people with one's organs, and be enjoyed by other people by their organs and with one's organs. And so you would look right past it. That's actual the activity of organs, but it's more they're more perceptive and profound on a spiritual level, and on a even on an intellectual level than we think. Another example is that some of the organs, they don't know what they're for, but I would say that they damn well are for something. And the less that people know about what they're for, is probably the deeper they are. So according to Arthur Avalon, this is what got me thinking like that. The spleen. I don't know if anyone watching this would know, or think that they know what the spleen is for, but according to Arthur Avalon, the spleen facilitates travel on the astral plane. So it's funny, like we don't know where the hell we are. Just like we don't actually know what we look like to others, or even to ourselves, because we had not seen what we look like without the intermediary, but also the less than, because like, okay, so you know what you look like on a phone, right? But was your phone the best phone that actually exists right now? Or if you had another phone, if you had an upgraded phone, would you not look a little bit different on that other upgrade of phone, or whatever they'll have beyond now when they have phones in the future? You'll look different. Like part of the reason that people look different, like in photos from the '90s and '70s and '80s and stuff like that, is because actually the phone apparatus, the photography apparatus, look different too. It's not just that when you're having memorabilia about like you're having nostalgia for the '80s or the '90s or the '70s based on photographs. You're not only having nostalgia for that period, you're having nostalgia for that mode of photography. You're missing that with the way, damn, I miss the way pictures looked back then. I miss the way that people acted in front of pictures back then when there also wasn't better pictures to be taken. That before there was social media, I miss the way people acted, and also the cameras that captured them and the way that they would present themselves on cameras that would capture them before social media. That's partly what you're missing when you're missing the good old days. Um, but you actually can't say entirely what you look like, because not only were you different in different times and look different, but you would look different at different times based on whatever's giving you a sensation of yourself. But it's not really you, because you actually don't know what how have you, under normal circumstances, you don't see what you look like without being reflected, nor what you sound like without being echoed or also reflected. Also, that too, what you appear like in sound and in appearance, based on the reaction of others. But that can be managed by them. People can be dishonest, or they can be over one by your appearance, or under one by your appearance, or half one, or un one, or re one, or truly. I don't know. It's like when you're truly win in some. It looks like to truly win in another person's eyes, because most people, they have one thought of you, or maybe more than one thought, because we're not really singular about anything, but they have one thought of you, and then one thought that they let on that they have of you, and one like, so it's a lot of that is interchangeable and a little bit arbitrary. But uh um I I actually have so many more ideas, but based on the ideas I already landed, I want to land this one in soon. But the I was saying is that the sound is like when you make a sound, like say you make a sound like in a vicinity like this, like in a stairwell. That sound it's rapid, but it also it never ceases to exist, because where does it, if sound goes outwards, right? Where, how does that actually stop moving, especially how fine and subtle and sophisticated and much of ripples it sound. So you could say it never stopped. So you could say that all the things that have ever been uttered in this stairwell right here, it's a little bit of historic stairwell for me, in just in my life, but the reverberations, they never stop filtering. But then not too, but it does get back to relative silence, right? Where you don't hear anything, right? In and out of manifestation. The sound is just like a, it's almost kind of like a, it's more like a fire. I think that we ourselves, maybe all that we are like fire, right? Because according to Arthur Avalon, anything that's combustible is, it actually still exists as fire, whether or not it's ablaze. Because if its potential is there as fire, it's yet fire as potential or or kinetic and active. It's still, its essence is still fire. So a lot of us, I think, because we consume things that have been prepared with fire, or could be combusted with fire, and can yet soon also in turn be combusted as fire, we're yet still actually fire. And if you look at a fire, how could you actually describe? You can't say what a flame looks like, because a flame never actually looks the same way. It looks very, a flame is a flame. It's still a flame, but no flame is the same flame. Not even the same flame. So flames are kind of like, but that's a lot of like what we are. That's what we appear to ourselves, what we appear to others, and maybe what we really are. And then also what sounds are. Is like when I give enough of a damn to actually really invoke my will to enunciate a sound, there it go. But it never stopped, like it never stopped going on like that. But it also, it transmutes, right? So that's actually what the fire is doing. The fire, it's not staying, it's almost not staying in this reality as we know it. That's why fire is like one of the most, it's interesting, like if you listen to like heaven forbid gun report, which is fire, or like a engine revving, there's almost nothing more real and serious than that which is coming from fire, right? There's nothing more serious seeming than very few things more serious than actual gun report when it's targeted and it's earnest, or like a car revving or an airplane accelerating. So fire can be very serious and firm and real, right? It's fire like that, right? But it's also so superficial. So fire is actually the most sincere thing, like gunfire or like a fire that keeps you alive, a stove fire, or like a vehicle that's propelled over combustion. But also, if you just look at a flame, it's just very superficial like that. So a lot of things are like uh, um, uh, are like dynamic like that. So fire is about the most superficial thing and the most real thing, and yet the most difficult to define because it actually doesn't exist as a physical reality as we know it. It's almost like it's a fire is really actually transcended. It transcends what we call this world, yet it's also the realest thing in this world. And a lot of the things that would make this world seem real have been wrought by fire. Even you could say the earth has been wrought by fire and is a function of like what goes on in the sun is like a form of fire. Um, but um, but that sound, what I'm saying is that sound is that one is that it ripples and it never stops rippling and existing from that standpoint, but also it does come back to silence. So it would have had to transcend. Um, but I got way a lot more ideas, but I've been going on long with this, so I don't think it's a good idea. The one of the orders I used to emulate a lot, Osho, he had a lot of ideas, and he would do something similar like this, the same thing like that. I'm saying similar because I'm not saying I'm not on that level, but he would do extemporaneous talks, and he would improvise and freestyle dialogue and insight based on his ideas and his former scholarship, and reference people and things while doing that. And I've been doing a lot of that. I used to really, that was one of the skill sets that really inspired me when I was a younger person. But I didn't know that you can really do almost anything that you would develop and work up to in practice. So like in the last year, I've gotten to that, and I wanted to thank Casey Zander for that, because Casey Zander, he has a YouTube channel where he talks a lot about like what people respond to in dating, and he has some insight about that that's really unique unto him. But he advertised and offered access to his private community of men, or not just men, but people interested in style. And I took him up on that. But when you get in there, you can't look like he has a lot of insight that's available on YouTube without costing money or costing engagement. But his platform itself, it requires engagement. And I was actually, when I'm earnest about something, I'll usually apply myself, and I really applied myself to his forum last year, and I'd be like doing deliveries, and you could say that actually somehow got me where I'm here now, because I'll be in that forum and I'll have ideas to post in there, and I'll just pull over the hell somewhere and upload in a post like that while working, because I'd have like these I had these 1099 gig platforms, and I wouldn't do so while I largely wouldn't do so while I was like I wouldn't do so unless I had an opportunity to pull over somewhere. But I'd be doing it so intermittently, like, okay, let me take this delivery, but I just had that idea. I'll take that delivery, I'll complete it, but then I'll pause the app because the app would allow me to pause it, and then I'll start writing. But by me actually engaging with that writing like that, it took, sometimes you can't appreciate how your mind is your how you use your mind is impact your mind is creating your reality. So if I'm doing delivery, right, if I'm a 1099, I can start and stop at my own choosing. Constantly, I can engage and seek orders, then I can complete them, and I can pause it. I can take a 30-minute break as many times as I want, when as I would want, when I would want. But when I do so, and then I start engaging like a post, and really pouring out into the post based on my experience and my insight and my interest and my passion, then that actually diverts my, wherever your eyes go, wherever your mind goes, reality goes, life goes. You could almost say this life goes wherever your mind goes and your eyes go, but also where your attention goes. You really can't appreciate how much of your energy, which is very crucial and also very powerful goes where your attention goes. So when you have like these different things like platforms that want or seek to attain and people's attention, that's a deeper form of energy than you can normally appreciate. How it's sophisticated, how they're accessing that, and what they intend to leverage that. But it's actually a lot of power, more power than even economic activity per se in itself, more than political activity in itself per se, and all that would come with that. That is incredible. Anything you can imagine, spaceship, space, this and that, any type of thing that could be procured like that and used like that, that stuff's not bigger than or different than economic implications and or political implications, but attention itself is even more profound than that. And so that's how much of that's how profound our mind is. Our I think when people say mind, they're meaning your attention, because your mind is more than your attention, but not the least of which is your attention, and is very powerful. So uh um so if you're doing something like I was doing, like with the, so what I'm saying is that whatever you do, it's very hella serious, and it could actually amount to life and death. Like so I didn't know that when I was it started before I would get on to Casey Xander, because I had been looking into those kind of themes like in the past, like, but so that's what had me interested in that enough to engage it. But then also when engaging it, that would have me have enough traction while engagement gets it, or insight or material to engage with, to inspire me to further engage. So what I'm saying is that it was such that it put my, because I used to be able to deliver with the best of them. Like I would, like I said in another point of this series, I would be doing deliveries in the areas that got the most rep in the Twin Cities. I'd be doing deliveries like that at first with pizza until 3 in the morning. You could potentially get a order come in at 2:55, because you still have to complete orders if they come in before close. 2:55, you just got a triple, quadruple. No, sorry, not triple, quadruple. But you could potentially get up to a quadruple order at 2:55 in the morning, and you still have to make the order and take it to the people and bring back and tell them how many, and complete all your duties and your metrics for closing down the night like that. That's one night, and I would do that for years like that, and that was like a lot. After starting at 5 in the afternoon, can you imagine being in the rough? I'm like the Twin Cities, Minnesota. It's not statistically the worst or the best place in the world, but it's a real ass place. However, you would appreciate that. Demonstrably, the Twin Cities is like that. If you can imagine, like the whatever you would call the roughest, whatever is called the roughest area statistically or by rep of the Twin Cities, going back, I'll wake up at 4, commute to work by 5. It's already dark in the winter time, and then I'll go from 5 until at least 3 a.m. Could potentially could still have to go out with the order at 3 a.m. And then in handling cash money, doing that, and